Clog TV.
Beyond the policy.
Yeah, welcome back to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the KOKO Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our main discussion. And today's topic, as I mentioned earlier, is about medical negligence and infant mortality. And we have a short documentary by our guest on infant mortality. So let's have a look at that.
Medical literature indicates that 41% of neonatal deaths occur, which are very much preventable. It means that we are having to see our sisters or our mothers suffer or see their babies die through needless deaths, preventable deaths, which hitherto could have been prevented. The main causes of infant wrongful death include failure to intervene when you have a fetal distress and there is not an immediate intervention that can cause infant wrongful death. You also have issues of asphyxiation, you have wrongful medication, you have anesthetic error, and then untimely intervention of CS. Some of these things are caused by negligence by the obstetrician gynecologist and the midwives. And this year's seminar is based to educate health persons in this particular category. This is an educative program to help the general public and also the health institutions. It is everything to bring the two in tangent so that at all times health delivery in the country will be enhanced. It is important for you to be aware of your environment.
Yes, so that was a short documentary by our guest, and he's in the person of lawyer Christian Libert Malm Hesse Esquire. He's a senior associate at Ecom Law Consult, which is located around the airport residential area. We've had him here on this show to talk about medical negligence before, but today we are focusing more on infant mortality. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us here once again. We are most grateful to have you.
Pleasure is mine.
So, yes, we want to, you asked us, you gave us this short documentary on infant mortality, but I think our viewers, would like to know, the basics of infant mortality, if you can throw some light on that.
Yes. Before I get into infant mortality, there might be some viewers who probably didn't follow us in respect of the first episode we had. So wrongful infant death, that's it. Wrongful infant death is one of the areas of medical negligence. Now, and medical negligence comes under the area of law of tort. It's one of the aspects of law. So it's more of a subset in a subset, and tort deals with a wrong, or comes under the broader law of civil wrong. Okay. And so when one is injured or wrongfully harmed, we say that there must be a compensatory regime, and that's how tortious claims come about. So diving into it, in law of tort, about 2/3 of law of tort deals with negligence. Okay. And a negligence we have medical negligence. And medical negligence, with it, we have two main aspects. We have the criminal side and we have the civil side, like I spoke of the last time, just wrapping up so viewers will follow what we'll do today. And so we have intentional harm and unintentional harm. So the unintentional harm deals with, or reckless harm, deals with the more medical negligence. And then the other one, the intentional harm leading to death, deals with malpractice. Okay. Now, narrowing further, when we talk about medical negligence, there are 4 pillars that grounds it. So we first look at the duty of care. If one walks into the hospital and the physicians or health workers start to begin to attend to you, we say the duty of care is established. Simpliciter, not going into the details of what the legal definitions and all that. That is more of legalese. Now, then we say that where one departs from the duty or falls short of the duty, we say that there's a breach. And as a result of the breach, or in establishing the breach, we try to establish the causal link. So we have various tests that we use in law to establish causation. And when the lawyer has been able to do that, then we say then damages have been proven, or damages will result from it as a result of the breach and then the causation established. So basically, in a nutshell, these are the 4 areas that deals with medical negligence or establishing the various elements to come about medical negligence. Now, in dealing with medical negligence, there are various aspects. We have issues of physician errors. We have aspects of clinical errors. We have wrongful infant death. Now, when we talk about wrongful infant death, it should not be construed that every infant mortality is negligent. Or if a baby dies, that means that negligence has arisen. No, because there are babies who are born or who die as a result of genetic disposition and and other natural causes. So that primarily cannot be attributed or imputed to the physician or the physician handling this particular mother or child. Okay. Now, when it comes to this area of negligence, there are 3 main health professionals who are mostly held liable, or the tortfeasor might be one of them. So when we say the tortfeasor, in law of tort, the wrongdoer is the tortfeasor. Okay. So the gynae or the obstetrician or the midwife. These are the 3 main health professionals. Or in some situations, we have the obstetrician gynae. So it could be one person,
But what about the nurses that are also around helping out?
Yeah, I am not saying those ones or those general nurses might not play a role in leading up to such a negligent occurrence. But these are the main professionals because they are directly in contact with mother and child. Okay. So the gynae would begin or would attend to the mother from having clinicals with respect to antenatal, yes, all through term, and then to delivery. Even delivery, where it is not complicated, the midwife might decide to birth the child. Okay. Where complications abound, the gynae would be there. So these are the main persons, but it does not mean that others will not be involved. Again, others might be involved because in a situation where you are having cesarean, a lady is having cesarean, you have there will be administration of anesthesia. Yes. So if that person gets it wrong, it becomes an issue. We'll go into causes of wrongful infant death. So wrongful infant death deals with infant mortality that is preventable. Okay. You see, and it says that about 41% of our babies are lost through that. 41% that fall under the age of 5 die as a result of this. And so one sits back and says that this is a worrying situation. It is not just in Ghana, globally. It's a worrying situation. And if you pay heed closely to our midwives or hospitals that deals with delivery or fertility issue, injuries or birth injuries that leads to harm or death is quite rampant.
Okay.
And the only way that some of these things can be solved, unless natural, is through advocacy from civil service organizations or other educational programs, just as some of us do by running seminars around the various hospitals.
Okay, so can you shed some light on some of the common errors that are committed that cause the preventable infant deaths?
Yeah, so we have issues of medication error. So medication error is one of the major things. You would have a pregnant woman who would be prescribed with a certain medication or drug for whatever complication she is suffering from. And when the medication goes wrong, there could be complications.
Okay.
Now, and these complications sometimes trickle down to the baby.
Okay.
Now, we have what we call fetal distress. So if it trickles down to the baby, you would realize that delivery becomes a problem, or it can even affect the placenta.
Okay.
You know, and it can cause various problems. So medication error is one. I mentioned anesthesia. Anesthesia error too is one, where the administration of it becomes quite problematic. It also could affect mother and child. Now, we also have issues of untimely emergency CS.
Okay.
It is a very, very important area. I'm currently dealing with one matter at the High Court where the woman suffered from that. You know, before you go through the delivery process, you fill forms and you indicate whether you would want elective CS or not. Some would go by vaginal delivery. Some would elect for that. Now, in situation where the woman elected for vaginal delivery, and in the course of the delivery, it becomes very eminent that the woman cannot birth the child. At that particular point, in law, we would ask ourselves, we use the but-for test, you know, what would a professional exercising his or her objective professional mind do in such a situation? Where the woman is telling you that I cannot push, and then you tell the woman that, oh, other women have done it, you can also do it. Push. And now, when this complication begins to grow, it is linked to the fetus.
Yeah.
And then the fetus will start distressing. So now that also becomes another area of the problem.
Yeah.
So you have fetal distress, and you would have the heartbeat of the child beginning to go down. Now, in this particular situation, the hospital, even though the woman kept asking for it, they failed to exercise that call. And by the time that baby came out, before that, the woman kept struggling, and the cannulas and all that kept coming out. Then they'll put it in. She was basically tossing herself on the trough. And this was a situation that before it, she had been augmented without consent. So augmentation is they put a drug to induce labor. Okay. Now, the woman is her first time, and she's 30 years plus, 31, 32. Now, you need first to explain the procedure, the implications of the drug, for the person to psych her mind to it. But immediately, and when you take it, the ripple effect, and it is quite biting. For women who have gone through it, they know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so it followed through, and the woman became very agitated and stressed, and the delivery also prolonged. So prolonged delivery is one of them.
Yeah, so it could even lead to complications.
Yeah, so it led to complications. And then we have what you call birth asphyxiation or birth asphyxia.
So the child
came out not responding, lethargic, was just there. And when it happens like that, the child would suffer from various complications, including seizures.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally the child died. The child died. So birth asphyxiation or asphyxia is one of them. Then physical trauma. So in situation where there's is it breech presentation or abnormal presentation of the baby in the womb. There has been situations that have come before me where the hospital failed to carry out scan at the last stages to see the presentation of the baby. It sometimes baffles one's mind how medical professionals could be that negligent. Because if you are going through the checklist, this is very important for one to check and know the presentation of the baby. It happened that the presentation was not too good.
So it should have been CS.
Yes. Complications resulted and it became fatal. Now, there was also another situation where because they didn't scan the child to know the size of the baby, it met them as a surprise. Yeah. And they had to slit the vagina. They call it episiotomy.
Yeah.
And you know, when you are handling the child, if you are not too careful enough or professional enough, you might injure the nerves of the child, and that might also lead to epilepsy.
Okay.
You know, and aside that, you might even cause injury to the brain, especially when you are using forceps or extractor. So these are some of the things that cause birth injuries that are avoidable. So if these things are avoidable, whether it causes injury or death, we say that it is wrongful, and the family can make a claim for that. Okay.
So I think I know somebody that when she was going to have her child, she was afraid of, you see, as you mentioned, some of the professionals will say, oh, women before you have done it before. So, because apparently too, there's also this notion in the hospitals that imani be omutimia mode. So they are in pain, and this pain is warranted, and maybe they are expressing the pain. They are sort of stifled from that. So I think the child was crowning, and instead of she was afraid to let them know she was in pain. The child was crowning, so she was just there quiet in pain. Is that something that the hospital can be held liable for in case something happens to the child, or it is the mother's fault?
Yeah, I mean, in situation where the crown shows the baby is not able to come, there might be some form of obstruction. It could be that the umbilical cord is around the child. Yeah. It could be an obstruction where the placenta, it could be a lot of things. I'm not a medical doctor, but for us as lawyers, we use the reports to make our case in court. And someone who is so interested in medical area and building that profile, some of these things become very, very important and very, very much of interest to us. And it is everything necessary that health workers, especially these three areas, the obstetrician, whether the person is 2-in-1, and then the midwives, they really need to take the thing so seriously and not leave it to air. Because when they leave it out, you have a midwife who says that the woman kept opening and closing her thighs, and that caused delayed delivery. delayed delivery is one of the causes of wrongful infant death. And if you are the health worker in the delivery room and a woman is seriously in pain, and by your professional judgment, you realize that given the duration expected for delivery, the pain as aggravated is not allowing the baby to be birthed through the birth canal. What comes to your mind? What would be your best judgment call? Because your failure to exercise the best judgment call, and we have what we call the Bolam test, we would say that a professional acting in that capacity, what is the expected standard? What is the medical opinion of a professional working in that particular situation? Given that moment, what is required? It would be, in law, we will say that a professional in that particular situation giving medical opinion. And this medical opinion will not come from the lawyer, but it will come from the expert opinion that the lawyer will bring to court to testify for his case.
Yeah.
And if it is established that a midwife who or hitherto in that particular position, and based upon or hindsight of medical opinion, will have a call, a professional call to exercise elective CS, then that particular midwife who failed to exercise that professional judgment call has fallen below the standard, and by that is liable.
Okay. So I have two questions.
Yes.
My first question is, in the movies that we watch, we hear about epidural and the rest. In Ghana, is it a right? Do we have the right to access to the epidural, or it is just something that, just like anesthesia, we can opt for?
You see, when it comes to all these things, anesthesia, you consent forms, with procedure, consent forms are always given.
Okay.
And we have, you call it informed consent form.
Okay.
And we have tacit, we have express consent form, we have surrogate consent forms, or implied consent forms. I always tell the hospitals that the best form of consent form is express consent form. Now, if the person is not conscious enough, you can always procure consent from the family.
Yeah.
And with that too, you at least procure 2 signatures, and then the doctor must also sign to it. And it must be explained in the language that the family understands. So there must be a jurat there. A jurat is an interpretation clause that explains to the family the procedure that is about to be carried through.
Okay, so my second question is also that you mentioned that sometimes the mother can opt for maybe the natural birth or with the CS. So in a situation where the natural birth is not going to work out, and now like the judgment call has to be a CS, and then she, in pain, in all the distress, she agrees to it, but later she maybe, I don't know, later based on the fact that she did not opt for the CS, she decides to take some sort of legal action. Is she well in her rights to do so? So
this is it. A woman signs up for vaginal delivery. So going into the labor room, everybody knows that this is what. So I mean, there's no provision of CS medication and all those apparatus. Now, just as she started, probably she's been given some medication or something, and she begins to react, or probably the vaginal delivery is not going on well, and the woman herself elects or calls for CS. Now, for elective CS, it might not be once, it might not be twice, but this woman monotonously keeps calling for it. Now, you also have the husband of this woman present in the delivery room. At that point in time, as professionals, you need to start making, because your judgment call, and as you experience, sees that the more time we waste, complications will result. Now, the legal bit of it is that whilst the doctors or the midwives are attending to, definitely one person can call the husband aside and explain the situation to him. And that is where surrogate consent form comes in, so that the hospital will be protected from any liability.
My question is rather on the flip side. You see, there are people with these notions about the types of birth, right? So she wants to give birth like an Israelite woman or Hebrew woman, like they say. But based on maybe the turn of events at that time where she's supposed to deliver, the child has, maybe it's a breech birth this time. So the professional now tells her, the way the baby's positioned, you can't push. So let's have the CS. She's in pain, she wants her baby and everything, so she says okay. But afterwards, she says she consented to a natural birth and then they did CS for her and things. You know, that kind of emotional reaction sometimes people have. That I'm asking that, is she well within her right to take any legal action against them?
Oh, in this situation, the hospital can defend itself.
Okay.
Because if the baby is in a breech position and the best way to save mother and child is that particular is the elective CS. The hospital can defend itself.
Okay.
And why would she bring an action unless, of course, injury has flowed through it?
Okay.
Injury in terms of death or abnormality suffered either by her or the child. The court will be interested to establish whether the procedure, the elective CS carried out, was done in accordance with medical body opinion, or it was below the standard. Now, just as I mentioned, in that situation, that the hospital or the professional realizes that vaginal delivery will not be of the situation. One of the midwives must be able to communicate to the family, whether mother, sister, and most of the time the husband would be around. You communicate to the husband and you pass on a consent form to that particular person. I always tell the hospitals that it is everything necessary for you to insulate yourself. Medicine works hand in hand with the law.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's getting very, very educative here. And don't forget to send in your comments and your questions. You can also call in to ask your questions. Our WhatsApp number has been displayed on your screen, so you can send in your questions for us to ask our lawyer here. Anything you need to know. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we'll open the phone lines for you to call in and ask your questions. Back. Yeah, welcome back to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the KOKO Digest Morning Show, and we are discussing medical negligence and infant mortality here with a lawyer in the person of lawyer Christian Libret Hesse, and he is one advocate for medical negligence, educating people all around Ghana about medical negligence. So don't forget to send in your questions to our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, and of course onto our WhatsApp number. And then you can also call in to ask your questions and we will have them answered for you. So, lawyer, how can families identify if infant mortality is due to medical negligence or not?
Yeah, very important question. I always say in my advocacy that the best way to help yourself or your relative is to be very observant throughout the gestation period and then the delivery period. It is very important because that is where you are able to see what is being done right or what is being done wrong. Now, you should be one person who, if you can't put things to memory, chronicle it. These days, phone is all over the place. And so I always tell people, if it depends on your level of education. But if you are literate, chronicle it on the note side of your phone. If the person is not that literate, you should find ways of having a retentive memory of whatever might have happened.
Oh, but
so,
even with that, the not so literate could use the voice recorder to sort of record the information.
Yes.
So, just like the notes where with the time, if they know how to use their phones, they know this is a recorder. They can just tap, oh, this happened, this,
Yeah.
in whatever language they are fluent in. I think that's an option, right?
Yeah, it's always an option.
Okay.
I say this because the case that I'm handling, the husband did so well. The husband chronicled every event, the sequence of occurrence. At this time, the baby, she was given augmentation. At this time, she was pushed into a delivery room. The mother went in at this time. They called her to come and persuade that. I had to go and get this at that time. Delivery came at it. And because of the chronicling, we were able to fish out the inconsistencies in the hospital's own witness statements.
Okay. So basically, families should take, careful note of everything that happens from the beginning to the end.
If you are not observant about the events, it will be difficult, or you will not be an asset to your lawyer to help establish negligence. But all you would say is that they didn't take good care of whoever.
Yeah.
They didn't take good care of whoever. But further probing will become difficult for you. It's your relative. You should be wide awake.
Okay. So our phone lines are open now, so we'll be waiting for your questions. Call in and ask any question you would like to ask relating to medical negligence and infant mortality. So what are the legal rights of parents who have lost their child due to medical negligence or the infant mortality we are talking about?
Oh, right to sue.
So
you stand in locus parentis. Yes, you are the parent of the child and you have suffered an injury.
Yeah.
So you sue.
Okay.
Yes,
so
you sue.
In suing, are there this is where your right ends, or it is free, you are literally, you have access to everything in the suing jurisdiction?
Yeah, so what it is that we sue at venue. So in law, when you say at venue, where the defendant's hospital is, that's where you sue. Or in the alternative, where the incident happened, that's where you sue. So we'll sue the health workers, if it's plural, fine, or the health worker, because that health worker cannot pay the liability or the damage that we are looking for, because normally it's in millions. So we'll attach the hospital. And the test to attach the hospital is to establish whether that at that particular time was that health worker in employment relationship, and mostly it is yes. So then the hospital will become vicariously liable, and so we hold them jointly and several. So that principle, basically, the judgment debt would hang over should you win. Should the claimants be successful in court, the judgment debt would hover over the two. And definitely we'll go for the hospital because they have the money. We'll garnish their accounts for the bank to come and show cause why it should not pay the money to the judgment creditor, or we go by rate of FIFE to sell off through judicial sale. That will be auction. Yeah, and reserve price and other things will be determined after valuation and all that had been done. And the advertisement had also been carried out in accordance with rules of court. And then, or the CI 47. And then the health medical equipments would be sold to satisfy the judgment debt.
So if the medical equipment are sold,
yes,
and now the other, clients or patients need that facility, what happens then? Yeah,
so that tells you that a hospital management must be a prudent management team. Because if you're a hospital and you are loaded with, or you are daunted with 2-3 medical negligence cases, and lawyers are suing you 5 million, 3 million, 4 million, 10 million, and depending, there are calculations to it.
Okay.
But for whatever the calculation may be and whatever the claimant will be able to establish, the court would give some million.
Okay.
And you have that a lot.
All right.
You run out into insolvency.
We have a caller on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. You're welcome to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. Thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Good morning. Please, my name is Monica. I'm calling from Australia.
Okay.
Please, I have a question to ask.
Okay.
I had a previous pregnancy. I was pregnant. That was last year, 2021.
Okay.
And during the course of the pregnancy, I was diagnosed of pregnancy-induced hypertension. And during the childbirth, I had a little complication. By God's will, the child survived. And I was told that on my next pregnancy, they are supposed to put me on medication because of the hypertension. And I got pregnant again just this year. Mm-hmm. I went to the hospital. You have documented it. Even you wrote my last, I think they took your history. Mm-hmm. And she wrote this pregnancy-induced hypertension, meaning that the one I was supposed to be on medication. Mm-hmm. One day I went to work and I was almost 6 months, and then for a few days, I saw that my head was itching, so I said, let me rush the hospital and go check everything. When I went, they said it was preeclampsia.
Okay.
So she said I should go and see the PA. It's a health center there. And when I went, the PA checked my BP, I was like, midwife, how? Because the previous thing I was written on the book, she was put the woman on medication. Now, because I was in the distance, so they just like, they said they are going to refer me. So that they said they referred me to the teaching hospital. Which first thing was not on my side, I lost the pregnancy. So I want to ask lawyer, with that, can I still the midwife for that? Because my husband he wasn't happy. He said he documented the thing, so he was supposed to look and check it. Up to now, my husband has been told that the midwife, he has to do something about the bath has happened, so you should let it go. Yes, he's still insisting that he wants to get time. And we asked them why they knew I have such a condition, yet they didn't ask it faster. So this issue came.
Okay.
The line is quite
so
faint,
I want to ask
if I understood what she said, if I understood what she said, she's saying that her first pregnancy she had high blood pressure,
Yes.
and then
later something about eclampsia.
Yeah, eclampsia. Eclampsia deals also with high blood pressure during pregnancy, and then the last bit of it. Because I want to see whether there was injury resulting from wrong medication, and whether the degree of injury, whether death or permanent. I didn't get the last part.
Yes.
But assuming without saying that, what she said was that she had.
I think they did not really factor in the hypertension thing with the next pregnancy or something of the
sort. So did they affect her pregnancy?
It seems so, because she mentioned that her husband was also involved and was a little angry about it. Okay,
let's keep the facts as I understood it. So if it is a situation, as I assume, that she had high blood pressure as a result of it, and her history was not factored into because as she's going with the same health institution, her history plays a role in respect of how her subsequent pregnancy would go. And they say every pregnancy has its own devil. But medical traces is very important. Medical history is very important, which informs the hospital of whichever patient they are attending to. So in a situation where there is a misdiagnosis, so she presents herself and they failed to diagnose her of what she's really going through as against, so what she's really going through. And if I also heard her, she mentioned something about medication.
Yeah.
So if, and you see, wrong diagnosis follows with wrong prescriptions.
Yeah.
They are correlative. So definitely what we look at is whether harm flowed from it. So if harm followed from it, which results in fatality or no matter the injury, then she could actually start thinking of medical. But it's a technical word that we just don't like. I am always cautious when someone comes to my office for medical negligence. We take about 3 months to do legal investigation before we mount an action. It just doesn't like to say that. So there must be some investigations. We need to get her medical records, not reports. I'm always fighting with doctors on that. It is not the report that the lawyer needs. The lawyer needs the records because the report is a deduction of someone's of an opinion. Okay,
we have another caller on the line. Hello, you're welcome to KOKO Digest Morning Show. Thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Please, I'm still the same Monica.
Oh, okay. Yes, please speak up a bit so we can hear you.
I'm really not hearing her.
Okay. The lawyer was saying, was there a fatality? Yes, I know the pregnancy.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, I know because of I think they said it's because of the pressure. But the other thing that is because the media said, she recorded on my book that I'm already like a known hypertension patient. She was supposed to say that they put me on medication to sustain the pregnancy, but she didn't check that side. That's what caused the preeclampsia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have a claim. You have a claim to make. You have a claim to make. And if this is over 3 years, then your claim.
No, it's just this year. It's just this June.
This year.
Oh, okay. Then you have a claim, and such claims, suit filing would go for about 5 million in terms of compensation. Yes, I mostly tell people that it is better to bless the memory of your lost one than to allow it go. And the thing is that as you put the claim in, it strengthens the health system. Yes, it strengthens the health system. But if you do FA local, tomorrow it will happen to you or it will happen to another relative of yours. The system needs to grow. That is how the Western system strengthens their health sector.
Yeah.
The more suits come, the more the hospital management becomes very, very pragmatic. Because if, as she's saying, assuming without admitting that what she's saying is what is on the record, it will speak for itself. And we'll need an expert opinion to also establish all that had been said or testify in court to corroborate the things she's saying. Okay. So the first place that we always go is the medical records. And let me caution to say that hospitals, the medical record is not yours. It is for the patient. There are situations where hospitals decide that they will not give their medical records out to patients. It is a human rights matter. Look at the Lister case. Go and read it. I always fight with medical directors. Go and read the Lister case at the High Court. And you would see that the court concluded against Lister Hospital that it is always a human rights matter, and it is never the bona fide property of the hospital. Unless another person is asking for it, then you have every right to protect it because you are in a fiduciary relationship to protect confidential information. But if the person, herself or himself, if aside mother, child, himself is asking for it, you have no business to deny that person his or her medical records. And he says that I'll give you opinion, which would be report. The lawyer needs the medical records, not opinion.
Okay, thank you very, very much. So I want to also ask, what role does the Medical and Dental Council play in any other regulatory body play with the infant mortality issue and negligence?
So the doctors have theirs and the nurses too, they have theirs. Now, these disciplinary bodies also come in to help the process.
Okay.
So they have all the professionals there to deal with the matter, whether or not indeed the doctor was negligent, the hospital, same. Now, when you get a decision from this particular quasi-judicial bodies, you go to the High Court to enforce it.
Okay, okay. We have another caller on the line. Hello, you're welcome to KOKO Digest Morning Show. Thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yeah, I'm calling from Germany.
Okay, your question.
Please, I want to contribute to what you are discussing.
Okay.
Good, because my wife went to a hospital. Can I mention the name of the hospital?
No, please.
My wife went to, she went, I believe, at a hospital, a senior hospital. And they said she had a crucial aspect of a medical care. Fine. And now, for a medical record, they don't want to do this work. It's almost a year.
Like I said, medical records. You need to get a lawyer to write on your behalf.
My wife several times. You don't give a medical record now.
You need to get a lawyer to write to the hospital and demand the medical records, not the report. The records, the raw data. Yes, you need the raw data. That is what the lawyer will use to do cross-examination. That is what the expert's opinion, the other doctor or other experts will also look at to see whether they did the right thing, not the report. Mostly when they are involved in negligence, they want to give you a report and summarize and massage. No. I always tell some of my colleagues. You need to get a lawyer. You need to get a lawyer of choice to demand that for you. If the lawyer writes and gives them a time limit, 7 working days or 14 working days upon reproduction, failure to do that, the lawyer must take action. And I've already cited the case of the Lister Hospital. If you Google the Lister Hospital, you will see the case there. You read it and you realize that you have a claim. We need to make Ghana work. We really need to make Ghana work. Yes, because you never know, you might be a victim.
Yeah.
You might be a victim. Look at what happened to the woman who was abandoned, and the report came out not long ago. Yes, because you don't know where you might fall sick, and they'll rush you to some hospital, and if the system is not working, you might be a victim. So we cannot do, when it comes to health, we cannot do Fama Nyami. We cannot do Enyeshi. We cannot do Efe Noko. Obagbo.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling.
You're always welcome, my brother.
So, yes, as we are talking about infant mortality, what are the likely challenges that bereaved parents or, parents whose babies have just died, what are the likely challenges they are going to face when they try to follow any legal procedures to take action against the hospital for negligence?
Oh, the first challenge is finance.
Okay.
Finance, because number one, the compensation regime that the lawyer would ask for, not even his legal fees, going to mount in court will be high. It will be in the millions. So definitely the cost of the rates will also go up. That's number one. And then the other aspect is what I have been addressing with the medical records. Some of the hospitals, they are so diligent and they'll give it to you. Yes, and I liked it like that. When they help all of us. Now, lawyer begins to think, they don't want to give it to me. I must now think of mounting an action to go and get it. You go to court and then orders will be made before you come and start your real action. So that would elongate it. But when they give it to you, then everything says it. And then the other aspect deals with the legal fees. And when it comes to litigation, we have two types of costs under the Ghana Bar Association Scale of Fees 2022. We have incidental costs, which deals with the prosecution of your case. So filing of writ, affidavits, and other documents to the court. And then the other part is the legal fees. So it depends on the arrangement that you enter into with the law firm. Some law firms will tell you that, okay, after examining your case, you have a good case. We would want to pre-finance the incidental cost for you, and then you don't pay legal fees. So that at the end of the day, so it is more like a success matter. If I win for you, you don't need to. If I win for you, then you pay me my incidental, and then I get my legal fees. Others would say pay upfront. So it depends on the mix. So these are some of the challenges.
Okay. We have another caller on the line. Oh, I think we've lost the caller. Have we? Producer?
I'm sorry.
Have we lost the caller? Oh, okay. So, again, we have a question here from Ernesta Santi. And, okay. Now, this question is that, what role do expert witnesses play in medical negligence causes? I think you answered this question in the last episode, but...
Yes, they play a very significant role. Now, this is the catch. Where debris is left in the body, so maybe scissors or surgical knives or anything is left in the body, that one, you don't need an expert opinion or expert witness to come and testify. Now, experts testify in accordance with the Evidence Act.
Okay.
They further strengthen your case. Now, the court can decide suo motu to have an expert assist the court, or a party litigating can decide to have an expert assist it to establish his or her claim, or if it's a company, its claim. Yeah.
So I think our caller is back.
Okay.
Hello, you're welcome to the KOKO Digest Morning Show. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hello, please. My name is...
Your name
I'm calling from Dantoma.
Okay.
Mercy. I'm calling from Dantoma.
Okay, your question, please.
Please, I was supposed to give birth
Pardon?
on 26th July.
Okay.
And I went to a private hospital. They told me I was just 9 months and I shouldn't come unless I see blood on my water break.
I'm not getting her.
She said she was 9 months. She went to a private hospital and they told her not to come until her water breaks, right?
Okay.
Or I see a clot of blood.
A clot of blood.
So I was in the house, I think, 9 months, 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I was I went to the hospital. The pain was too much.
Okay.
So when I got there, they told me 5 days that I did. So I was already tired. So when they told me to push, I told them I could.
Okay.
So I need years.
Okay.
And they said they can offer the child test flash. So they use something called vacuum suction.
Okay.
To suck with the head out.
Vacuum extractor.
Yes.
It has
so he enough oxygen and he didn't cry.
Oh.
That's
so that moment we got something called
hypoxia, or it caused brain damage.
So I have a baby with a seizure 2 years.
Oh.
And the medication and the MRI we are doing is too much. It's not something I can do about it.
Yes. So if you listen to me from the beginning, you hear that I mentioned forceps. That it comes under physical trauma. When I listed the causes, it comes under physical trauma. And the two major things, the forceps and then the vacuum extractor. So they put it on the head, they try to. And that one causes brain damage. You see, if the person is not skilled, it will cause brain damage. And it can cause epilepsy and other matters. So nervous break.
You can't watch it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So nervous breakdown. Yes. I know claims like that. I know claims like that. So what you need to do is find a law firm of choice, because you see, if you do Fama Nyame, the condition that you have, it is a lifetime condition. Yeah, it is a lifetime condition, and experts will tell you that it is going to live with the child because it's brain and neurological problem. So the child would have walking disabilities, the child will have speech impairments, and it depends on which part of the brain is affected. Now,
it's affected every part.
So a law firm of your choice would go into arrangements with you, and the compensation that you get, the court will look at the lifetime of the child, and that is how come you will get millions of Ghana cedis, because the hospital has caused irreparable damage to your child, which is lifetime. But if you sit home and you depend on family and friends, because definitely if the bills are high, you run short and you have to call a friend or two, or even depend on the church. But for how long? If you go to the court will adequately compensate you for the lifetime of the child. So Fama Nyame will not help you. Efe Noko will not help you. So look out for a law firm or a lawyer that will assist with your problem and give you the best of agreement, and then you proceed.
But we need to also make sure that, like you said, there's a time frame.
When was it?
So if it's not beyond 3 years, then she should take legal action.
Yes.
So please, if it's not been more than 3 years, please take...
You are an assistant.
Please take legal action. I've also been a victim, my brother. So we did Fama Nyame, we're living with it. So please take legal action if it's younger than 3, if your child is younger than 3 years, or the incident is younger than 3 years, and get some compensation for yourself and your child. Thank you so much for your call. Thank you for your question as well. So all too soon, our time is up, and would like to take your closing remarks to our viewers. I think we need to make it a series because there's so much to cover with this.
You see, it's matters that directly affects everybody. Medical negligence, whether the other streams of medical negligence or even wrongful infant mortality, it directs the lives of people. It affects the lives of people. So my closing remarks is very simple. No Fama Nyame. Don't sit idle when you are suffering. See, just go onto the internet. Now, www is everywhere. Just go onto the internet and type medical negligence lawyers. Either way, which of the, put sentence in the search engines. You would contact a number of lawyers in Ghana. Averagely in Ghana, there are about 3,000 active lawyers. You will definitely come across somebody who would be willing to listen to you, who would be willing to fall or have an arrangement with you, and make sure that the person is an expert in medical negligence. It is one of his or her specialties, because every lawyer has his specialty. Some like criminal law, some like land law, others. So make sure, just go and keep fighting for your child. Let's have a strong family unit built on good health. And to my health professionals, let's strive to build a strong, robust health system on the standard of medical opinion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. And I would like to do small adverts for our lawyer here. If you don't feel like going to do all that, just find his name on our stream and try to contact him. If you like, call us. You pay small nokufio, and I'll give you the number. Thank you so much for...
Lawyers, you don't advertise, so...
So I'm doing it. So thank you so much for joining us here. We are so grateful. I'm sure we'll have you back again, because this is a very, very pressing issue here in Ghana. And a big thank you to you, our viewers. Without you, this would not have been a success. A big thank you to our production team, our management, our driver, everybody that's contributed and made a sacrifice to make this show a success. A big thank you to our sponsors, a big thank you to everybody here, and we hope to see you next week bright and early. And we are still in October, so this is to remind you that we will be doing a breast cancer awareness. We'll be doing sickle cell awareness and, of course, cybersecurity awareness. So don't forget to wear something pink today. Get your breast examined. Teach somebody about breast cancer awareness. Get people to also get checked as well. This is all we have for you today. We'll see you again on Tuesday morning. Have a blessed weekend ahead.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.